My name is Ravi Gulati. I'm the sales director with Nokia Siemens Networks for the global services. Uh, the topic which we have for the telecom infrastructure is Global Network Operations Center. And I was sitting there for last 45 minutes and I've heard the likes of Indus, Infratel. I was sitting in the next room presenting a presentation on transformational outsourcing. So I had some of my customers idea. They were talking about the OMC centers. So I would believe that the network operations center is not something which is a very new concept. And if I really talk of India having been the IT factory for last 20 years, network operations centers managing the applications for financial houses or IT infrastructure of the global customers is not something which comes new to us. Uh, Having said that, from a telecom point of view, India has been more of an end consumer than a service provider to the rest of the world so far. Uh, you know, we telecom revolution has happened out here, and we have seen umpteen huge consumption from an end subscriber point of view to the stage of where we are right now in terms of 250 million plus subscribers. It's only in the last 6 to 8 years wherein we have seen the concept of the network operations centers emerging in the Indian environment, wherein esteemed customers like Bharti Airtel or Vodafone took the route of network outsourcing, say 7 to 8 years back, maybe sometime 2003, so almost 10 years now. And that's when they trusted players like us to outsource their network. And it is sometime in 2005 or 2006 that we started developing the global network operations centers to be able to manage these networks, not only for the Indian customers, but moving beyond to our international customers. So what I will talk about in the next 5 to 7 minutes, maybe in 4 slides, is how we have built up our global network operations centers and what is the evolution wherein we are taking it to the next level. And then maybe I'll seek your question and answers. So this is just to give you a footprint of how our global services delivery is spread across. So what you see in the yellow circles is our global network operation centers. We have one in Noida, we have one in Chennai in India, we have in Lisbon, and what you see around in the blue areas are more of the near-shore centers. Something similar to how one would have seen in the IT services centers, in which we need to provide the global remote operations, but at the same time we need to be near to the customer for some of the customized environment which we are building across out here. And if I really kind of down select from a global services delivery centers to our global network operation centers, this is what it emerges across out here. So the Chennai, the Noida are the centers which we brought up sometime in 2007 and 2009. And Lisbon has also been there for a while for our West European customers. We have the center in Moscow, which we have added this year in 2011, and that is to take care of our CIS operations customers. And the logos which you see across is just a snapshot of the customers with whom we are supporting. When I supporting, we are managing their network sitting at these network operation centers, which means we are able to bring the standardizations, we are able to bring the skills which are required to manage newer technologies as we go forward. And it is not just the technology which has been provided by us, it is a multi-vendor network management centers, which means we are managing the networks of NSN or Ericsson's or Huawei or ZTE. So these are the network elements which we are managing from the network operation centers. And let's say since we are managing something like 190 managed services customers, which means we are managing something like 650 million subscribers. Out of that, almost 200 million subscribers are being managed from our network operation centers in some of these locations. Just to give some statistics, something like 270k trouble tickets are resolved from these centers. And this is just to give some of the statistics and examples as to what it means when we talk of standardizations. The fact that we are able to hire and retain some of the skills, so we are taking away a lot of onus from some of these operators to be able to manage as we move along the technology journey as well. I've already talked about some of these. The Global Network Operations Center started sometime in 2007. With Chennai, we opened up in Lisbon. We opened up another center in Noida. And then we expanded our Noida and Chennai centers. And this year we opened up in Moscow as well as in Sao Paulo, Brazil, mainly to cater to some of our Latin American customers. And just to give an example, from our India center, we are managing some of the multi-vendor networks of Vodafone Australia or in Spain, which means sitting out here, we're able to manage their networks, their BSCs, their BTRs, their BTSs, their subscriber applications, and the interesting part is, all these. In the whole process, we are also building some kind of a disaster recovery. At least I would say not 100% disaster recovery, but at least from moving the substantial critical applications to be able to manage in case of any unforeseen circumstances. And what it means is not only we are able to invest as a centralized in a cloud environment, some kind of a high capex environments, but also some of the customized tools, some scripts which we have developed in-house over a period of time, by which we are able to offer not only a quality of service but a quality of experience. And I think that is something which is becoming relevant in the today's environment. And so what it means is, if you see, the phase one is something which we started back in 2007, which means we need to have a reliable global services network operations center. Fair enough, this is something which we have been doing. Yes, it brings operational efficiencies. We are able to build up into a service management. But what is important is we are moving into the customer experience management phase, which means if my network is 99.99, maybe I am meeting my KPI expectations of my customers with my operators. But if my network is down by 0.1% or 0.01%, it could be potentially that operator has the maximum high net worth users in those 0.1%. Or it could be that my 5 BTS, the switching stations are down out of 1,000 base stations in Mumbai, but if they are in the, let's say, Bandra area, I could be losing a substantial revenue. So when we talk of customer experience, we are talking of managing end customers' experience. How my net worth users are experiencing the service at particular point of time. Is it that my particular set of subscribers who are using a particular kind of smartphones, they are not able to use the services because their machine is not configured to download a new application? I think that's where we are saying, can we proactively tap the end customer experience in terms of how they are experiencing? Are they able to offtake the data which they want to take? Can I do that proactively? So that kind of intelligence we are building up into a global network operations centers centrally, so we don't have to go back to the operators for them to invest into capex, but something in which we can take the management from at a network level to a customer experience level. And I think that's the evolution which is happening across, which will decide as to how operators embrace this change. And I think this is something which we are trying to do at our network operations center in Noida out here, and something which will replicate in all our global network operations center. And that would mean that we'll be able to tap as to how the end customer is experiencing, what kind of a network uptake is happening. Are there any particular set of customers in a particular cluster or in a particular location not able to use the services, and then we are trying to standardize this in a factory model to be able to offer it on a per application basis or per cluster basis, not only for the mobile customers but moving forward to the fixed line customers also. But today probably to give an example, Bharti Airtel is one of the early adopters of that, and they've already implemented that for their 3G data customers, and we want to take it to, let's say, the next set of customers, including the voice customers. So that's just to give you a brief glimpse in 5-10 minutes as to how we are evolving from a traditional global network operations centers to a customer experience network operations centers. And there are some testimonies as to how the market in the recent 3G GSM Congress in Barcelona, I think customer experience management has been really embraced by the industry, and we are trying to take it to customer experience on demand, in which, like I explained, from a network operations centers, we are able to offer this on a cloud basis and therefore make it more cost effective from an end customer standpoint. So I think that's where I want to sum up our evolution journeys, and I'll be happy to take up some of the questions. Thank you.
Your GNOCs are multi-vendor, right?
That's right.
And they're for the mobile, fixed, and transport. All three, or it is only for mobile?
That's right. So mobile and transport is something which we're anyway managing for some of the fixed line customers. There aren't many. We have Brazil OI as one of our flagship customers. Uh, but if you really talk about in the Indian environment, if I may call it, there aren't many examples wherein fixed line has been outsourced except for Bharti Airtel's access network group. We have been discussions with them for the transport network group, but that decision has still not happened across. But the microwave part of the transport along with mobile is already been there for last many years. Yeah.
How do you manage the different languages?
Sorry.
How do you manage the different languages of the countries when you manage it from a different place?
Yeah, very good question. I think I would not say it is getting 100% managed, which is why we have ended up opening centers in Sao Paulo for the Latin American environment and in Moscow for our European and Russian customers. I would say from a basic network operations, from a alarm management or a performance management or a fault management, all those activities obviously are language independent. But when it comes to be able to reach out to the field management and therefore the coordination, that's where the language parts comes into play, which is why the Indian center is primarily supporting not only the Indian but some of the APAC and some of the European customers, including some of the customers operators like Elisa on 3C in Finland. Our Moscow. But having said that, we are opening up, as we said, the Sao Paulo Center and the Moscow Center to support the specific vernacular languages out there. And that's something which probably customers also relate to.
Do you restrict yourself to TAM, or you also take ETOM into your configuration?
Absolutely. So I think the underlying infrastructure has been built on the ETOM model, and as we move into the service management layer, I think we are probably getting into the next management of service management and the customer experience management, which will sit on the underlying platforms. Yeah.